The Israelites stood trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's approaching army. But God parted the waters, creating a dry path through the sea. They crossed safely, and when the Egyptians followed, the waters returned, destroying them. That day, God delivered Israel, and they were free. And the Lord brought them out with a mighty hand. You, your household, and all your people, delivered at last from the bondage of Egypt, from the yoke of Pharaoh. After 400 years of slavery, the Lord showed his power with signs and wonders, and the sea itself fled at his command. Thus begins the next chapter. For though Egypt was behind them, a new trial lay ahead. The Red Sea had closed, but before them stretched the great and terrible wilderness, a dry and barren land they had never known. Now came the testing of their faith, and it was in the second month, on the 15th day, since they had come forth out of the land of Egypt. But lo, the joy of deliverance began to fade, and the heat of the wilderness pressed upon them. The songs of freedom grew faint upon their lips, for the harshness of desert life now lay heavy on every soul. Now the food they had carried from Egypt was all but gone, and in the wilderness there were no fields to harvest, no vineyards to glean, no markets to trade, only dust and rock, the scorching sun by day, the cold by night, and the slow ache of hunger. And hunger, as it does, laid bare the hearts of the people. So the whole congregation of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, and they cried out, "Would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in Egypt! There we sat by pots of meat and ate bread to our fill. But you have brought us into this wilderness to die of hunger, every one of us. It is a wonder, and yet not so strange. For who among us has not stood in that place, when fear drowns out faith and frustration makes us forget the mighty works of God? But the Lord, full of mercy, was not provoked to wrath. He turned not his face from his people. Instead, he spoke to Moses and said something wondrous. "Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, bread from the sky." Can you imagine it? But before the miracle came the command. For the Lord is not only a God of wonders, but a God of order and instruction. Then the Lord spoke unto Moses with words both clear and full of compassion. "Let the people go out each day and gather only what they need for that day, and on the 6th day let them gather twice as much. In this I will test them whether they will walk in my law or no, and I will teach them to trust in me day by day." So Moses and Aaron stood before the congregation of Israel and proclaimed, "This night ye shall know that it is the Lord who brought you forth from the land of Egypt. And in the morning ye shall behold the glory of the Lord." They reminded the children of Israel that their murmuring was not truly against Moses or Aaron, but against the Lord himself, whose provision they doubted. Yet the Lord remained merciful and ready to provide for his people. And on that very evening, the first sign was given. Quail came from the sea and covered the camp. Fat, tender birds, easy to catch, enough to satisfy every household. Then, with the dawn, when the dew lifted from the ground, the people beheld the promise fulfilled anew. And behold, in the morning, the ground was covered with a strange, thin, white substance like frost upon the desert floor. The people gazed upon it and asked one another, "What is this?" Then Moses spoke and said, "This is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat." And the people called it manna, for it means, "What is it?" Each one was commanded to gather about an omer, enough to fill roughly 2 liters, for every member of their household, according to their need. Some gathered more, and some gathered less. Yet when measured, each had just enough. No surplus, no shortage. None hungered, and none were forgotten. But Moses warned the people, saying, "Let none of it remain until the morning. Yet some would not obey. They kept what was left, storing it away. Perhaps fear whispered in their hearts that God would not provide again. Or perhaps weariness made them reluctant to gather on the morrow. But when morning came, the leftover manna was spoiled. It bred worms and gave forth a foul stench. It was good for nothing. For the Lord was not only feeding their bodies, but also teaching their hearts to trust and obey. Then came the 6th day, and with it a new command. Moses spoke unto the people, "Today gather twice as much, for tomorrow is the Sabbath, a holy day of rest, a day set apart unto the Lord." There was no manna on the 7th day, for the Lord had said, "On the Sabbath there shall be none." Yet the manna gathered in double portion on the 6th day did not spoil. In this, God revealed a profound truth, that He values rest, that His people need not toil without ceasing or carry burdens of worry day and night. He established in their lives a holy rhythm of trust and rest. But even so, some among the people went out on the 7th day to seek manna and found none. Then the Lord asked them, "How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? I have given you all that you need. Rest now and stay where you are." Is it not the way of all people? We fret and toil, believing that if we do not do it ourselves, nothing will be done. But the Lord, full of patience and love, was quietly saying, "Trust me, I have this in my hand." And so, from that day forward, the children of Israel gathered manna 6 days and rested on the 7th, keeping the Sabbath as the Lord commanded. Every morning, without fail, the manna appeared, fresh and pure, a sign of God's faithful provision. And every 7th day, the people rested, honoring the Sabbath as the Lord had commanded. For 40 years, yes, 40 years, God provided manna in the wilderness day after day, never failing His people. Consider this. Long after they left the wilderness of sin, long after this moment had passed, the Lord continued to show up, sending bread from heaven to sustain them. And the Lord desired that His people would remember forever. So He commanded Moses, saying, "Take a jar and fill it with manna and lay it up before the Lord, to be kept for the generations to come." And Aaron placed the jar of manna before the tablets of the covenant, within the ark of the covenant. Thus, the children of Israel would never forget how the Lord had provided for them in the wilderness. For the Lord knew how quickly the heart forgets. Perhaps today you find yourself wandering through your own wilderness. Perhaps the path ahead feels uncertain, the way unclear. Perhaps you stand in a dry season, wondering where your next provision will come from. Or perhaps you are simply weary of gathering, weary of waiting, weary of walking. He does not always answer early, but He is never late. He may not give us abundance, yet He provides exactly what we need, day by day, morning by morning. Is this not how our Lord Jesus taught us to pray? "Give us this day our daily bread." This story of manna points us beyond the wilderness, beyond the bread from heaven, to Christ Himself, the true bread of life, who satisfies the deepest hunger of the soul. He is the daily grace given for every step of life's journey. So take heart, dear friend, for the wilderness is not forever. And while you walk through it, you will never be alone. Lift your eyes to heaven, gather today's manna, and rest in this unchanging truth. God will provide. If this story touches your heart, do well to like and follow this channel for more interesting Bible story. Thanks for watching.